How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another week and another Destiny 2 video, where this week we are going over the Fallen S.A.B.E.R Grandmaster Strike, and luckily, Fallen S.A.B.E.R is a lot easier than the last two we've had to deal with, so this video hopefully will be just a little bit shorter than the last ones. So, if you found this helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into the guide. Once you land into the strike, hop on your S.A.B.E.R and drive through this area while trying not to get sniped in the back by the random vandals or shanks that could be here. They can one-tap your S.A.B.E.R, thusly leading you to dying, but if that happens to you or your teammates, just reset the strike. It's really not that big a deal, and you're really not going to waste any time or anything by doing this, and it's a lot easier than just trying to go back to get them. So just restart if you do die here. Once you get through this part, you're going to be in the area where the war sat drops. The best thing that you can do is, before you get to that area where it actually drops, jump off your S.A.B.E.R, jump around and go around the cliff, so this way you have zero risk of getting destroyed by the war sat. Once you and your allies are nice and comfy in this area, you're going to scan the war sat, which is going to start this next part. During this part, a few skiffs are going to spawn, and they're going to spawn ads, champions, and the whatnot. The first skiff that's going to spawn is going to be right in front of you. Shoot out the turrets while it's flying in, and then get ready to take care of the ads that is going to spawn. When the ads start spawning, hop away from the war sat so you no longer progress it. Deal with the wave of ads, hop back on the war sat, repeat the process. The last wave that spawns before you have to turn around and deal with the next two skiffs is going to spawn an overload champion. Take care of him, immediately turn around and look at two more skiffs that are coming in. It's going to be the same process. You're going to deal with waves of ads, hop on the war sat to download the data, deal with a barrier champion that is going to spawn. Once those skiffs go away, there will be another skiff that spawns in that first area where you fought that first skiff, and it's the same thing. You're going to deal with the ads while downloading the data from the war sat. Once all the ads have been taken care of, you're then going to proceed into the bunker. Same thing as before, though, there will be an overload with this last skiff. So once you get that taken care of, now you can go into the bunker and begin the part that trips a lot of teams up. Once you're in this next room, there are two strategies that can really be used here. The first one is just running double Ursa Furiosa Titans and standing in the back, but we didn't have that, so what we did instead is, on the left-hand side of this room, there is a little hallway where most of the marauders will spawn out of. Go into that hallway and just deal with the marauders that spawn as they spawn and start working on all the other ads. At the end of this room, if you go to the end of that hallway in particular and look out to your left-hand side, there's going to be a barrier champion and an overload champion. Take care of them. Once the barrier dies, another overload will spawn, so if you take care of the barrier first, just be prepared for double overloads. Get this room cleared out, and a vent is going to open where you have to shoot a little fuse. That'll start the next part of this particular room, which a bunch more ads are just going to spawn, and two more overloads are going to spawn at the far end of the room. Take care of them, stun them, your usual stuff. Just clear the room before you go into the vents and go into the arc conductor room. In this room, you're really gonna have to focus on being a team, because once someone picks up that arc charge from the far end of the room, they don't move that fast. Normally, I send the Titans down there because they can Titan skate with it pretty well, so that's one strategy to use. If not, use your callouts, watch your team, make sure that they don't die to any of the exploder shanks, and move on to the next room, where honestly, this next room in the strike is my favorite just because of how cluttered all the ads are, and you can do some really fun stuff. So that's the next part we'll go over. Once you get to the end of the hall and open that door, there's going to be a handful of ads that are gonna be there. Take care of them, really simple. Walk into the room, look to your right, and there's going to be an overload at the top of the ramp. Take care of him. The skip grenades that I use for this are amazing for this because they chain as well. Once you deal with that overload champion, a barrier champion is going to spawn. Take care of the barrier champion, all the ads that he spawns, and then two more overloads are going to spawn up in that doorway. Stun them, take care of them, move on to the next room. Once you get through this little hallway, and the ads actually manage to spawn, you're going to be looking directly at a barrier champion. Now, I highly recommend taking care of that barrier champion from this distance, not going into that room, because there are going to be overloads in there. So take care of that barrier champion, deal with some of the ads, push up, and start looking at the overloads. At this point, I believe there should be like 3 overload champions over by that door that had just opened. Take care of them. They will be a pain if you just let them all do their own thing. Try to keep them consistently stunned. Take care of them one at a time. The grenades are amazing for this. One storm grenade keeps them in place. My skip grenades kept them in place and dealt some pretty hefty damage, as well as our teammate having divinity, which really helped just deal with the overload champions in general. Once you do the overload champions, we can now move on to the boss room, which sometimes can be hard, sometimes not, but honestly, definitely not the worst one that we have had to deal with so far this season. Once you drop into the boss room, you'll have to take care of a handful of shanks and 2 servitors. Once they're taken care of, the boss is going to come up into the middle, and all you need to do is just damage him with your heavies and grenades and whatever you need to do to get him go away. This boss is divided into 3 segments. After this first part, adds are going to spawn. It's mostly shanks, exploder shanks, and 1 barrier champion sitting in front of the boss. Now, while you are dealing with these adds and the barrier champion, the boss can still shoot at you, so just be aware of your positioning and try not to stand still for too long. Once the adds and the barrier champion have been taken care of, the boss will teleport back to mid, repeat the process, do the damage to him, get him to go back up there and become immune. More adds are going to spawn, exploder shanks and regular shanks, as well as a barrier champion on the far end, and now tracer shanks are going to spawn out of the vents on the top sides of this room. Take care of the tracer shanks immediately, as they can one-shot you with their sniper, so that's also going to be really annoying. Take care of all the adds, and you deal with the boss one more time. Once he teleports down, he can actually move a little closer to you. Once you get him to that last bar of health, he basically explodes and just starts going on a rampage with little electrocutions coming out of the front of him. Burn him as fast as you can here, because if you get caught in those little electric thingies that he shoots out, you will die immediately. So just focus down the boss. He's the only thing you have to worry about. Once you kill that boss, you can watch all that loot fall onto the right-hand side of your screen. So with that, now we can go over the loadouts for this particular strike. As far as loadouts are concerned, I ran Arc Hunter with the Gathering Storm Stupor because it's really fun, and Shinobu's Vow for the increased stuff for skip grenades. I also ran Wish Ender for anti-barrier because honestly Wish Ender is amazing for dealing with barrier champions. It is a one-shot to them, even on Grandmaster difficulty. It is a primary weapon, and it does stupid damage to literally anything it hits. It also gives you a lot of super back too, because it counts every hit as generating super, which is really nice. I also ran my Forbearance with Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction just to clear out any adds that could get in the way, which was also amazing. It's arc damage, arc burn, the explosions, it's fantastic. I also then ran Storm Chaser as my heavy option because again, arc burn, arc linear, it just matches. I ran this before I fell in love with Sail Spy, so I use Storm Chaser for this. If I'm going to rerun it, Sail Spy is going to be my heavy of choice. I also ran mods like Elemental Ordnance and Elemental Charge, so I can become charged with light, so I can take advantage of firepower to make my grenades come back faster. Seeking Wells, so those wells I make come to me, and then Lightning Strikes twice just for a little added grenade oomph. I also made this same exact build earlier in the season. I believe it's the 1600 duo build that I made. It's an amazing build. It stands up so well in Grandmaster content, and I'm really pleased with that. Now the second build we're going to look at is an Arc Titan running Heart of Inmost Light because Storm Grenades are just stupid good. So honestly, Arc Titans with Heart of Inmost Light and Storm Grenades are so good for literally every endgame thing. Amazing. They were in Wither Horde just to deal with adds, Tarnished Metal for anti-barrier, and Fixed Odds to help with some ad clear, as well as the overload capabilities that machine guns have for us this season, and honestly, it worked really, really well. Ran things like Elemental Ordnance, Elemental Charge, so they can take advantage of Heal Thyself, so this way when their Storm Grenade gets a kill, they get some health back, which is also very good. Bountiful Well, so they can double down on energy returns from the Elemental Wells they make, and then of course, Lightning Strikes twice. It's a grenade build. It fits so perfectly with this. The last build we're going to look at is an Arc Warlock running Aeon Safes, Swifts, Souls, whichever ones they are. I can't remember. It's very confusing sometimes. They ran this, and honestly, I will say that needing an Aeons is not necessarily needed, but it was really nice to just have heavy to dump into all the high health targets that we had the chance to run into. They ran things like Hung Jury just to deal with barrier champions, Divinity for overload, mostly overload. Of course, the debuff it provides helps even with the nerf that it's going to receive, I believe, next season. It is still going to be an amazing option for Grandmaster content. And then Hot Hat as their heavy option because I believe theirs had lasting impression, so Div Bubble Lasting Impression Rocket, Div Bubble, does the bonus damage. Very, very nice. They ran mods like Elemental Ordnance, Elemental Charge to also feed into their Firepower mod, Seeking Wells, and Lightning Strikes twice. They ran the same mods as me because they're really good mods to use. So, with that being said, there's the guide and the loadouts. Like I said at the beginning, a much quicker video this week because Fallen S.A.B.E.R is really not that difficult to get through. It's also not a very long strike either. So, I hope everybody enjoyed this. I hope everybody could take some information from this, develop your own strategies, or even try out one of these 3 builds. So with that, I hope everybody has a great week.